let's bring it back to David asks a great question. David Cly asks, let's talk about it's a little bit about politics. It's a little bit about landlord tenant that we started with, but about the idea of the country going on lockdown again, because this ended up being a real divisive issue. There are, in this, because if you go on lockdown, you can destroy economy. People don't have jobs. There's depression. There's drug addiction. There's other stuff that goes. It's not good to be in your house all the time on lockdown. It's not a healthy thing. So David asks, and I'll let you go first, Bob, because I already gave a speech on this. Do you think the country's going to go to lockdown again? And if so, do you think that's a good idea? Seems like it would hurt a lot of families and businesses that were already struggling financially.
Right, and it would. So we've learned a lot. And some of the early lockdown was for a different reason and because we knew different things at the time. The early lockdown was to give us time to get up to speed in what we know. Now that the virus passes around by interacting. So there's no question a lockdown can slow the virus passing around. But as David points out, there's big consequences. And sometimes those consequences fall pretty unfairly on people who can least afford to deal with them. So we've learned about that. I think we don't need huge countrywide lockdowns. We may need some limited form of lockdown in areas where the virus gets particularly bad. But I think we've also learned enough to know and to have some discussions about the priorities of what those lockdowns should cover and what they should not cover. That's tough on a bar, but I think we can all agree that if we're really transmitting the virus badly, we don't all need to be hanging out in a bar having a drink, although that impacts bar owners badly, and it's going to ruin their business. So at the same time, we know we need, it's just like landlords saying that landlords can't evict tenants. You're putting the burden on them, you're putting the burden on the bar owner. We got to have stimulus and help for the bar owners when we say that. So we've learned both. We need to help the people the burden falls on, and we need those lockdowns to be targeted where they make the biggest difference in an area where the transmission's gotten out of hand.
Yeah, I think the I don't know the right analogy, but some of the early lockdowns, restrictions, initial PPP, it was like we're trying to hammer a little nail with a big sledgehammer, whatever that analogy is. We're just using this big one-size-fits-all solution to everything. And as we've learned now, we just know more about the virus and how it spreads. So, social distancing, face masking, but we don't need to shut down everything. And then in terms of a stimulus package, I mean, who needs to be helped? I mean, there's all these stories about these big businesses that didn't need the money, and some of them returned it. But I mean, it's people that can't pay rent. It's the small business owners bar owners and that kind of stuff. They need the money. Those kind of people need the money more than some of the big institutional companies. So
great.
It should be a giveaway like that. So as we leave, are you optimistic in the next 2 months about resolution of the election, peaceful transfer of power, and getting the corona stimulus and corona practices to address this? Because those are the two real problematic areas in our country right now.
I'm optimistic about peacefully resolving the election. But I think that's a different question once we've done that. Either party, whatever you believe in, whatever you think should or should not be done, no one is saying that dealing with both COVID and the stimulus to help with the economic effects of COVID is easy. I think we can do it, but if everybody's a little unhappy, we probably hit the right solution, which means by definition it's hard.